This is an article that came out on the Washington Post, October 22nd, 2017. I tell you what, John McCain, he must think now, I got brain cancer. I have nothing to lose. He is really going after Trump in ways that nobody else has. In this article, he actually brings up Trump's deferments. Trump had five deferments in order to get out of being in the Vietnam War. And if you remember, during his campaign run in 2016, he actually attacked McCain over him serving in the military and being a POW, which he really has no room to talk. He avoided going to war. McCain hits Trump where it hurts, attacking bone spur. I guess that's the excuse Trump used to get out of the war. Deferments in Vietnam. After a week in which Trump endured not so vile criticism from two predecessors as president and John McCain, McCain delivered another broadside seemed clearly aimed at Trump. In the most personal terms, McCain, whose status as a war hero Trump publicly and controversial doubt as a 2016 presidential candidate, appeared to retaliate in kind against the president in a C-SPAN interview about the Vietnam War airing Sunday night. The interview, McCain pointed to wealthy Americans who were able to get out of being drafted into service in the conflict in which he spent years as a prisoner of war. And he pointed to another specific type of deferment which Trump just used, which is bone spur, what he mentioned in the beginning. And he's right about that. That is something that has gone on in America since they have been in wars. It's always some wealthy person that could get their children out of fighting the war by just paying some money. And he's right. We always draft the lowest income level of America, and the highest income level found a doctor that could say they had bone spur, McCain said. That is wrong. That is wrong. If we're going to ask every American to serve, every American should serve. All right, here's the good part, y'all. Trump received 5 deferments during Vietnam, 4 for his studies in college, and 1 for, you guessed it, bone spurs in his heel. Really? He doesn't seem to be having no bone spur problems in old age. He walks pretty fine. Okay. For the previous 4 years, Trump had avoided the draft and the possibility of being sent to fight in the Vietnam War by obtaining 4 separate deferments so he could study at Fordham University and the University of Pennsylvania. And do you know one of his professors at Fordham University said Trump was a horrible student, by far the dumbest student he ever had. Oh man. With his diploma in hand and his college days over, he was suddenly vulnerable to conscription. Trump's exposure to the draft, however, didn't last long. 2 months later, on September 17th, 1968, he reported for an armed forces physical exam and was medically disqualified, according to the ledger from his local selective service system draft board in Jamaica, New York. Now in the custody of the National Archives. He's not alone. I mean, there were other presidents of this country that had deferment, so he's one of many. The ledger does not detail why Trump failed the exam. But check this part out. The Selective Service destroyed all medical records and individual files after the draft ended in 1973 and the military converted to an all voluntary service. So they destroyed Trump's records. So you can't go back and look at the exact reason, of what people wrote, but, they know 4 was because he was in college and 1 was for bone spur, which was a very popular thing that the wealthy used to get out of being in war. In recent days, Trump, a Republican presidential candidate, and his campaign have said that he received the medical deferment because he had bone spurs in his heel. But rather than clear up all questions about why he did not serve in the military during the Vietnam era, they have given shifting accounts that are at odds with the few remaining documents in his selective service file. All right, y'all, I'm going to come down here and play the video here. But I just find it hilarious how McCain is bringing up the fact that Trump is a draft dodger. But, the timing is impeccable because Trump is talking all that shit about the NFL being against veterans and all that stuff that they're coming up with. But we know it has nothing to do with that. But let's go ahead and listen to this video.
It's really, really an exciting time in healthcare. What we're seeing is a wave of new interesting consumer technologies being explored on how they can be used to help alleviate difficult situations that many people are.
How concerned are you with Donald Trump's diplomatic acumen?
Well, I hope he listens to the people that I've known for many years, like Mattis and Kelly and others. He surrounded himself with some very, very bright people. I hope that he would listen to them. I think that Tillerson can do a good job if he puts his priorities straight.
But do you worry about it?
Yeah, listen. Of course, I worry.
They would be alarmed by the growing inability and even unwillingness to separate truth from lies. They would be alarmed that more and more of our fellow citizens seem to be flirting with authoritarianism and romanticizing it as our moral equivalent.
If you want to preserve democracy as we know it, you have to have a free and many times adversarial press. When you look at history, the first thing that dictators do is shut down the press. And I'm not saying that President Trump is trying to be a dictator. I'm just saying we need to learn the lessons of history.
Putin's a killer. A lot of killers. You got a lot of killers. Why, you think our country's so innocent? You think our country's so innocent?
There is no moral equivalent between that butcher and thug and KGB colonel and the United States of America. To allege some kind of moral equivalence between the two is either terribly misinformed or incredibly biased. Neither can be accurate in any way.
The TPP decision, I think, was a terrible one. A year ago, I was in Singapore, asked the Prime Minister of Singapore, one of the wisest men in Asia, what would happen if we abandoned TPP, and he says it's simple, you'll be finished in Asia. And any military leader you respect have said we should not torture people, and I'm very confident that it wouldn't stand a day in court if they tried to restore that.
So, and are you comfortable with Donald Trump possibly having control of the nuclear arsenal?
Anyone that the people of this country choose to be the commander-in-chief
and the President of the United States, therefore, can lead this country and will lead in a responsible fashion anyone who is elected president fairly of this country.
He's not a war hero. He's a war hero. He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
When Mr. Trump said that he prefers to be with people who are not captured, well, the great honor of my life was to serve in the company of heroes. I'm not a hero, but those who are my senior ranking officers, people like Colonel Bud Day, Congressional Medal of Honor winner, and those that inspired us to do things that we otherwise wouldn't have been capable of doing. Those are the people that I think he owes an apology to.
I'm making the rounds all over the country, and I see how badly our veterans are being treated, and he's the guy. I mean, he's supposed to be doing it, and I see him on television all the time, and he's always talking, but nothing gets done. These veterans are living in hell, Bill.
Well, I've said all along that I would support the nominee of the party. I will not critique everything that Trump or Pence or anybody else or Ryan or anybody else does.
Okay. Now, McCain has really been a thorn in Trump's side, especially lately. He, let's see, he opposed and shut down the GOP's attempt to replace the Affordable Care Act. And now he's going on TV and kind of putting Trump on blast about his Vietnam deferment. For all the controversies Trump faced on the campaign trail and has confronted as president, his Vietnam deferments have not even been close to the chief among them. McCain just changed that. And you know what? It should be placed on blast. Okay? There are a lot of wealthy men and women in this country that run their mouth about war and even sit in your Congress and your Senate wanting to send people to war, and their butts had all types of deferments. But McCain so far is the only one that dared to come forward and bring that out. But like I said, he's in a position now, I think he feels like he's got nothing to lose at this point. Please tell me what you think. Please leave your comment and subscribe. And if you can make a donation to my channel, please do. Peace, family.